1.5 million votes were cast that night across the country, an American Idol record.
I cannot believe it. I cannot believe how many people came.
What was so amazing about this young man is, away from the press, away from fans, he still was a very humble young man.
A lot of people are watching you and paying attention to you. And I realized I need to do something that's not about me. I would like to make a special announcement that I've chosen to serve a full-time mission. We get to focus on serving people every day. We teach about the gospel of Jesus Christ. I don't think you appreciate the sweet moments until you pass through a lot of the hard times. The biggest things that I've learned are the simple things. I feel so different. A los enfermos es sano y a los muertos levan.
Please welcome David Archuleta.
Hi again. How y'all been enjoying your evening so far?
Wonderful.
Good. Well, I hope you enjoyed that video. For me, it amazes me to think of that whole experience, that I actually did serve a mission, that I was there in Chile for 2 years, and being able to walk the streets, those dirt roads of Chile, and being able to, well, in Chile you don't really knock, you usually go, "Aló," at the door. And so walking the streets and being able to "Aló" at the doors, and being able to share something that is so important to me, which are the principles of the gospel of Jesus Christ with people, and being able to sing for them on the streets or in their homes. And something that I learned on my mission was, you find so much joy in such simple things. Before, I had just had that American Idol experience. Suddenly, millions of people were watching me every week. And I think it was something like 1 out of 10 people were watching that show at the time. And so many people, no matter where I went, people knew who I was. And being able to sing for thousands of people, and having millions of people download your song and buy your albums, and so many things like that, watch your videos. And I remember one time specifically during a radio show, we were doing a bunch of radio shows, and one was at Madison Square Garden. And I was second to last at that show. I was right in between Kanye West and Chris Brown.
Yeah.
And it was...
We were there.
I just never imagined myself, doing all that, and being there and having the whole place full, and doing this with the mic, and suddenly everybody's singing along with the song you're singing along to your song. They know the words, and they're screaming your name and all those things. It's crazy. I really didn't think I would reach that point. At least, I was 17 years old in that moment. I thought, that would, if something like that were to happen, it would be the pinnacle of my life. Like, okay, 20, 30 years from now, maybe I'll get that moment. Well, there I was, 17 years old. I was reaching that pinnacle already. I was like, okay, cool, but now what?
You got to be here.
Yeah, I do get to be here, you're right. And I was just, sorry, I get distracted really easily. I lose my train of thought, but it really was like an adrenaline rush. I feel there's a lot of excitement in that moment, and having people scream your name and know all the words, and watching you. It's an adrenaline rush. I compare it to like a roller coaster. You know, it's just you go down that drop and you feel all those butterflies and things. But maybe a better analogy is like a sugar high. Like you go, you eat it and you feel like, you feel this sugary goodness, you know, and happy, but then suddenly there's that sugar crash. And that's why the roller coaster analogy doesn't work very well. There's a sugar crash, and afterwards, you feel kind of like, you get the high and then you get the crash afterwards, and that's how it felt. And so many people were saying, well, you must be on cloud nine, this is what you live for, and everybody knows your name, and you're gonna be famous now, and all of that. And I was like, okay, yeah, I guess that's right, they have a point, but I felt like something was missing. And for some reason I was feeling so depressed, because I was focusing on what everybody else was telling me to focus on trying to get more fans, more money, more recognition, selling more merchandise, all of that. And I thought, well, why am I so unhappy if this is supposed to be the happiest moment of my life, time of my life? And it was a time when I had actually stopped going to church for a few months, because I was told I was too busy. Oh, you don't have time for church. Or you have 7 days a week, no time for anything. You got barely time for sleep, you know? And so I thought, okay, they've got a point, they've been here longer than I have. And I thought, well, why do I still feel so down? And, you know, it was just a confusing time, but when I went back home for the holidays, I'd spend time with my family. And I realized, I was missing this. Oh, that's right, my family. I had spent basically the whole entire year not with my family, and I finally got to go back to them, and I realized how much they meant to me, and how much happiness they brought to me. And you know, before that I thought, well, they know how much I love them, I love my family, but they know I've got more important things to do, that I have my priorities. And then to come back to my family and realize this is what I was missing was a big wake-up call for me. I had one person on my crew of touring that was a member of the church. It was my keyboardist. And one day she had said, how would you like to go to church this week? And I said, we don't have time to go to church. And she said, she kind of snapped back at me. She said, well, sure we do. I said, we do? And she said, I checked the schedule already. You don't have anything until noon. I found a church that has a sacrament meeting at 10 o'clock. And we can go for sacrament meeting. You'll be back in time for what you need to do. So I went to church, and suddenly I realized, oh my gosh, this is what I was missing. I'd forgotten this. I didn't think, you know, going on my mission, talking about like active, inactive. I'd never considered myself inactive, but I hadn't gone to church for several months, really. And I heard those words in the sacrament prayer, when they bless the bread and water, in remembrance of Jesus Christ and his body and his blood, that they're willing to take upon them the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ, and always remember him and keep his commandments, that they may always have his Spirit to be with them. And I had forgotten that part, to always remember. And I think it's easy to do that sometimes. It's easy to forget that we're trying to always remember as disciples of Christ and followers of him. But what good comes from making that effort to always remember him and keep that commitment to him? We will always have his Spirit to be with us. We're filled with that light. So that was one of the things that I learned during my time. And then to go on my mission. That's right, I was talking to y'all about my mission. That as we go, I realized that I found just as much joy sweating or freezing on the streets of Chile, knocking on the doors or calling at the doors and getting the doors slammed in my face, being able to sing on the streets, the dirt roads, or in a home for 2 or 3 people, as much as I did for millions of people on a TV show, or thousands of people in an arena, or hundreds or thousands, however, at my own shows. I felt the same joy. I didn't need more and more and more like everybody was telling me. Because I felt like even when you reach millions of people and thousands of people, you still technically isn't enough, because you're never going to get enough out of that, because it's in the small and simple things. So I'd like to sing a song from that Begin album again, and it makes me think about the power of one. The power of one person. It reminds me of Lord of the Rings. Any fans of Lord of the Rings here? Yeah, me too. And Galadriel, I don't know, however you say it, the woman elf was talking to Frodo, the Hobbit, and she said, even the smallest person can change the course of the future. And I really believe that to be true. So you can do a lot of good, or you can do a lot of bad. You can be selfish, you can be greedy, you can be pessimistic, or you can do good for someone else, give a smile. You can ask someone how they're doing, give them a call and say, I was thinking about you. Things like that. So really the power of one is very strong. And so this song is called Pride in the Name of Love. out.